surpluses be useful to other people, so it isn't quite so bad we were born. Here they set up Grange Hall because of the staffing requirements of legal people, and that's why we have to work so hard, to show our gratitude. But you can't have surplus halls all over the world for every surplus that's born. It's like straws on a camel's back, Mrs. Pinsent says. Each and every surplus could be the final straw that breaks the camel's back. Probably being put down is the best thing for everyone. Who would want to be the straw that broke the back of Mother Nature? That's why I hate my parents. It's their fault I'm here. They didn't think about anyone except themselves. I sometimes wonder about the children who are put down. I wonder how the authorities do it and whether it hurts. And I wonder what they do for maids and housekeepers in those countries, or handymen. My friend Sheila says that they do sometimes put children down here too, but I don't believe her. Mrs. Pinsent says Sheila's imagination is far too active and that it's going to be her downfall. I don't know if her imagination is too active, but I do think she makes things up. Like when she arrived and she swore to me that her parents hadn't signed the declaration, that she was legal, and that it had been a big mistake because her parents had opted out of longevity. She insisted over and over again that they'd be coming to collect her once they'd sorted it all out. They never did, of course. There are 500 of us here at Grange Hall. I'm one of the eldest, and I've been here the longest, too. I've lived here since I was 2.5. That's how old I was when they found me. I was being kept in an attic. Can you believe that? The neighbours heard me crying, apparently. They knew there weren't meant to be any children in the house and called the authorities. I owe those neighbours a great deal, Mrs. Pinsent says. Children have a way of knowing the truth, she says, and I was probably crying because I wanted to be found. What else was I going to do? Spend my life in an attic? I can't remember anything about the attic or my parents. I used to, I think, but I'm not really sure. It could have been dreams I was remembering. Why would anyone break the declaration and have a baby just to keep it in an attic? It's just plain stupid. I can't remember much about arriving at Grange Hall either, but that's hardly surprising. I mean, who remembers being 2.5? I remember feeling cold. Remember screaming out for my parents until my throat was hoarse, because back then I didn't realise how selfish and stupid they were. I also remember getting into trouble no matter what I did. But that's all, really. I don't get into trouble anymore. I've learnt about responsibility, Mrs. Pinsent says, and I'm set to be a valuable asset. Valuable asset Anna. I like that a lot more than surplus. The reason I'm set to be a valuable asset is that I'm a fast learner. I can cook 50 dishes to top standard and another 40 to satisfactory. I'm not as good with fish as I am with meat, but I'm a good seamstress and I'm going to make someone a very solid housekeeper according to my last appraisal. If my attention to detail improves, I'll get an even better report next time, which means that in 6 months, when I leave Grange Hall, I might go to one of the better houses. In 6 months it's my 15th birthday. It'll be time to fend for myself then, Mrs. Pinsent says. I'm lucky to have had such good training because I know my place, and people in the nicest houses like that. I don't know how I feel about leaving Grange Hall. Excited, I think, but scared too. The furthest I've ever been is to a house in the village, where I did an internship for 3 weeks when the owner's own housekeeper was ill. Mrs. Keane, the cooking instructor, walked me down there one Friday night, and then she brought me back when it was over. Both times it was dark, so I didn't see much of the village at all. The house I was working in was beautiful, though. It was nothing like Grange Hall. The rooms were painted in bright, warm colours, with thick carpet on the floor that you could kneel on without it killing your knees, and huge, big sofas that made you want to curl up and sleep forever. It had a big garden that you could see out of all the windows, and it was filled with beautiful flowers. At the back of the garden was something called an allotment.